So I've already drawn out the peregrine onto the canvas and given it a coat of raw umber with some acrylic medium. And then I've let that dry, and now I'm just going over with some Payne's grey and raw umber, just some of those darker elements so that I don't lose them as I paint over them. Now this is going to be a simplified palette painting, so I'm only going to use 5 colours: titanium white, Payne's grey, raw umber, burnt sienna and yellow ochre. Now these are earth colours, so the painting will have this very earthy and old masters sort of style quality to it because I'm using those colours. And I'm basically going to be doing 3 different types of painting here. I'm going to be doing abstract for the background, impressionist for the bird, and then realism for the face, the eye and the beak. And I'm blending those 3 styles into one painting. Okay, now I've gone onto my large 1-inch flat bristle brush, and I'm going to knock in some of these larger, darker areas. And this brush is great for doing this kind of work. It's fast and it just gets the job done. You must learn to paint fast with acrylics. It just enables you to blend and mix the paint so much more easily, or easier. I really want that bird to stand out against that background, so I'm going to make sure it's going to be dark enough and light enough around the bird in certain areas for it to stand out. And because I'm using a minimal palette, a limited palette, there's no confusion when it comes to choice of colour. This makes painting so much more easy if you can limit your palette to just 5 colours or 3 colours and white. Okay, so I'm just going over the top still with this large bristle brush, and this brush is, say, very, very useful. I use it in every painting, but I'll just give you a quick heads up at the moment just to let you know of my YouTube memberships. At the moment I have only one tier. This is basically a support tier. For just the price of a cup of coffee, you'll be able to have a privileged view of my videos before they go public. You'll be also able to join me on my live painting sessions when I stream them, which is about once a month at the moment. In joining this tier, and also by using the links for tools and materials in the description below, you'll be helping to support me and my channel, and will help me to keep bringing you these videos and streams. So I thank you for that in advance. Okay, I've gone to a smaller bristle brush. This is just a cheap bristle brush. I think it's about £1 from a hobby shop. It's not the price of a brush that makes a brush good for what you're doing. It's the marks it makes. So you don't have to spend a fortune on brushes if the certain brush makes those marks that you require. And I like, especially at this stage, to be really messy. I like to start a painting in a messy way and then slowly bring areas into, or qualify certain areas so that they have more realism in certain areas. I also like to use soft and hard edges. So the main body of the bird is going to have soft edges as it blends and blurs into the background, and then as it rises up through the neck into the head, it'll have more sharper edges, and that will hold your attention and the viewer's gaze. The harder the edge, the more the eye is directed to that area, as well as detail. Detail will also draw an eye to an area. So this is why I'm going to be doing the detail in the eye and the beak, the main parts of the face, basically. Because that's where I want the attention to go. And the rest of it can be really quite loose, abstract and impressionistic. Okay, I'm just knocking in some of these little lighter areas. Still with this bristle brush, this cheap one. Just putting 1 or 2 little spots of colour here where I need them, and applying those colours elsewhere in the painting to harmonise the painting. But again, the colour harmony will come if you just stick with a limited palette. And I like using these earth colours because this is what the old masters had at their disposal most of the time. Bright, expensive colours weren't easy at all to come by. Very, very expensive they were. Okay, so that first layer is dry. Now this is painting in layers. This is what I like to do. And how to paint in acrylics is the easy way, is to paint in layers. Do the first layer, let it dry, and then start applying a second layer over the top. And it will go on in a smoother fashion now, because this is the second layer. And I can start to put in lights and darker areas where I want it to be lighter to show the bird off. And applying different colours, still with that limited palette. I'm not using any other colours. So just brightening that area there, so it really makes that bird stand out. Okay. Like that. Put some darks in as well, just on that edge to make that really stand out against that light background area. And put some of the dark markings in on the bird as well. Still being quite loose at this stage. Bit of burnt sienna and white just for the top of the head and for the shoulder. Just to show light is catching on those areas. And it needs to be a little bit lighter still there as well. Now a little spray of water, mist spray of water, and I can start to move the paint around with this catalyst tool. Again, that's in the links in the description below if you're interested in this particular tool. It just moves it around and makes such beautiful impressionist and abstract marks. And I love it for this kind of work. And it gives it a very oil painting quality. Putting a highlight now on the lower eyelid, because that's important when you're painting an animal's eyes. They do have eyelids just like we do. So you must paint especially the lower one where the light just catches on it. And the same with the beak, just putting a little bit of yellow ochre into that beak there to give it a bit of colour. That's the only bit of bright colour on the bird, is this yellow beak. A little grey in the eye. That's Payne's grey and white, makes a wonderful grey, a bluey grey. If you want to warm it up a little bit, you can add a little bit of burnt sienna or a little bit of raw umber. Will create a warmer grey. And then if you want a greener grey, you just add a tiny touch of yellow ochre. So you can get a myriad amount of greys just with these few colours. So you can see how the detail I'm putting into the beak and the eye, I'm being a bit more careful now about these areas and about the placing of the brushstroke and the accuracy of the brushstroke, because these have to be correct. The beak, the nostril, the eye, and the markings around the cheek have to be very accurate. Doesn't matter how good the rest of the painting is, if the eye and the beak aren't correct, it won't look like this bird. I use my fingers a lot when painting as well, just to blend or remove paint or to dull paint down. It's just whatever comes to hand with me, really. And fingers are first and foremost most of the time. Okay, a little bit more highlight into that eyelid there. It's got a little yellow tint to it as well. Okay, a bit more of that raw umber there. A bit more of the Payne's grey and white to give me this bluey grey colour. Now this brush I'm using here is an old worn round brush that the bristles do not come to a point anymore, but is great for using the splayed bristle technique, where I bend the bristles on the palette when I pick up the paint. It splays the bristles out, and I can then paint lots and lots of very fine hairs in one go. Maybe 5 to 10 hair strokes with one brush stroke. So it saves you doing a heck of a lot of work, basically. Just a little bit. It's also good for making ragged edges as well. Using my fingers to blend again there. a little shadow area under the eye. So you can see how the lower part of the bird is blending into the background. And the upper part is starting to stand out a little bit now because it stands out against that background. Because of the contrast, you've got to think about light and dark, and painting light against dark and dark against light if you want to make something stand out. Okay, you saw me splay the bristles of that brush there, and it really does work. If you've got an old brush, do try this. Bend it like that, and then like that. And then what you'd do is you'd let that dry and you'd go over it with another layer, and then another layer, until eventually you've built up an entire whole thick platform of fur or feathers. And that's how the professionals would paint fur, not by doing every single brush stroke. If there's a shortcut, a professional will use it. Always. So long as it produces the right result. But because that's one thing you learn in art is to break the rules. But in order to break the rules, you must know the rules first. Learn the rules, apply the rules, and then you can break them. Okay, just a couple of little dots of light now here on the edge of the beak and the top of the beak there, and the nostril, and just rising up the side of the head there. A little bit of light grey blue there just to blend that beak there, blending with my finger again. And just need to make sure this lower part of the beak looks correct. A little highlight in the eye as well. Just brings the bird to life. Now I'm really going fine now because I want to adjust the shape of the beak ever so slightly, and also little bits of detail like the catch light in the lower part of the eye. I'll put those highlights in once again because as they dry, they will become slightly darker. And you do have to keep going over them several times until they stay bright. As bright as you want them to be, that is. Okay, back to the bristle brush, a little spray of water, mist spray. Whenever I spray, I'm only doing that to dampen the paint or the canvas, not to thoroughly soak it. Okay, I'm just lightening up that area behind the head because it's still not standing out enough. Now it is. It's really looking like it's jumping out now from that background. And then back to the splayed bristle technique. So splay the bristles like that, spread them out. I have several brushes that I use for this technique. Some smaller, some larger. If you've got old brushes, don't throw them away. Use this technique. Just because they don't come to a point anymore doesn't mean to say they're not usable. I don't throw any brushes away at all. I always keep them because they can make unusual marks that other brushes cannot make. I'm not a fan particularly of brand new brushes. They make too clean a stroke. Except if I'm doing detail and I need very small pointed brushes. Or a liner brush or rigger brush when I'm doing whiskers or fine lines. Yes, then you need to be to have a nice, fairly new one, or look after them. Again, I'm adjusting that background there, darkening it slightly to make the bird stand out on that side, just a little bit, using my finger to blend. Lightening up that area again, just a little bit. Little touches here and there. That's all I'm doing now, really, with the entire painting. It's more or less finished. But I've just got to do a few little touches. Lighten it under that beak, the background, so it stands out. That's better. Now I'm going to do the markings on the bird, which are very distinctive, these markings. Now I've started off with a small brush, but I need to go to a larger brush and do this a bit more impressionistically. I don't want them to do them detailed. I want to keep this impressionist. Okay, so I'll do all this, I'll go over the bird and I'll do a few other little final touches, and then that's the painting finished. If you have enjoyed this video and hopefully found it interesting and entertaining, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Be sure to click on the little bell icon if you wish to be notified of my latest videos. I am always interested in your questions and comments, and I do try to answer every one of them. Hopefully I will see you on my next painting video, so until then, have a lovely day and happy painting!